Ecological momentary assessment, or EMA, is a research method that captures data about people's experiences in their natural environments in real time. Unlike traditional assessments that rely on memory and reflection, EMA collects multiple samplings throughout the day using mobile devices or wearables. This approach minimizes recall bias and provides more accurate insights into behaviors, emotions, and symptoms as they naturally occur. EMA is particularly valuable in healthcare, psychology, and behavioral research, where understanding patterns over time and in context is crucial. With our platform, researchers can easily design, deploy, and analyze EMA studies to gather this rich, real-world data from participants. Let's check out what an actual study looks like, from the point of view of a study administrator. Here is the overview page of a live EMA study. At the top, you can see the total number of participants and submissions. The table of recent submissions allows you and your team to stay up to date with your participants' activity. Clicking on a row in this table will take you to a data visualization of this participant's most recent submissions. To access this data, you'll first need to decrypt it by entering the applet password. The Summary tab by default shows all responses the participant made for this activity, the midday EMA assessment, from the past 7 days. Here, you can see this participant's responses to some questions about the location and context of their assessment over the last week. The Responses tab allows you to zero in on one specific assessment. Here we're looking at the most recent submission made by participant 20269 for the midday assessment at 8:53 p.m. UTC or 4:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Instead of graphs showing the trends of responses over the past week, we can see the detailed responses made by this participant for their most recent assessment. Let's head back to the study overview. In the Activities tab, you can see the different assessments available to be assigned to study participants. In this particular EMA study, participants are scheduled to complete 4 assessments per day. They will do the morning assessment after they wake up, the midday assessment twice spread throughout the day, and the night assessment right before they go to sleep. Let's head to the Schedule tab to see how this works. This is the default assessment schedule. When a new participant is added to the study administrator will have the option to automatically assign them to this schedule. While convenient for the research staff, most EMA studies will use individualized schedules to accommodate the different lives of each individual. In the day view, you can clearly see when the assessments are available to be completed. The current study uses short availability windows of 1 hour for each assessment, since the researchers are interested in observing measures during specific times across the day. You can see in the week view that assessment time windows are the same each day. In some cases, administrators will use different time windows on weekdays and weekends depending on a participant's sleep schedule. All of this can be customized as the researcher deems fit. Next, let's head over to the Participants tab. Here is where you can search for existing participants in the table, or add a new participant to your study by clicking the Action button on the top right. For now, let's use the table to find an example of a participant who is assigned to a personalized individual schedule. On a participant's personal page, you can find the activities they are actively assigned to, as well as those they have been assigned to in the past. On their Schedule tab, you can visualize and modify their individual schedule for completing the assessments in the study. Here, it looks like participant 18805 had 2 weeks of EMA assessments assigned about a month ago in February. Let's head back to the study overview. At any point, an administrator can export all of the data from their study by clicking the Export button on the top right. During this process, you can also choose to filter your export to data from a specific time range. Now that you've seen what an EMA study looks like, let's create a new one together from scratch. First, we'll go ahead and create a new applet for our study. Let's say we'd like to administer a simple questionnaire about mood to our participants once per day in the evening. We'll call the applet EMA Mood Study and drop in a picture to go with it. Great! Next, we'll create an activity where we'll put in the questions we want to ask the participant. Let's call the activity Mood Check-In and give it a picture as well. Cool. Now, let's add the items for our activity. These are the individual questions we want to ask our participants. We'll create some slider items, one for each emotion we want to assess. And look, all done. We now have 4 questions for the 4 emotions we want to assess in our participants. Let's hit Save and Publish, and return to the dashboard. Look, there's our new EMA applet. Looks like we have 1 participant, and here is the activity we created. That participant is actually us, the owner and administrator of the applet. You can tell study team members apart from real participants by the tag all the way to the left. Let's click on this participant to schedule us an assessment for testing. In the Schedule tab, we can see that our participant is currently using the default study schedule, and that the EMA activity is always available for completion. Let's make this test a bit more realistic by scheduling a time window for response, just like the study we saw before. Click on any day to create a schedule event. Here, we're asked to choose whether we'd like to make changes to the default study schedule, since that's the schedule our participant is currently on, or create an individual schedule for the participant. Though we don't have any real participants in the study yet, we should still be wary not to accidentally make changes for everyone using the default schedule in our study. Let's select Create Individual Schedule. Now that we're editing the individual schedule for our participant, let's go ahead and schedule an assessment. We'll pick the activity we created, Mood Check-In, and allow the participant to access the activity daily from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We'll also set the assessment period from today, March 17th to March 31st, which is 2 weeks from now. While we've already set up a time window when the assessment can be accessed, we can additionally implement timers as well. The timer will start counting down from when the participant starts the activity, and idle time is the amount of time the participant can be away from the activity before it automatically submits. EMA researchers typically use these timers as a means to prevent recall bias, but we'll go ahead and leave no time limit for our test case. However, let's make sure to set a push notification to make sure the participant knows it's time to complete an assessment. Here, the field is automatically filled with the assessment window's start time. Let's go ahead and hit Save. Here, we're being asked to confirm that we want our activity to become limited to the time window instead of being always available, which is exactly what we want in the case of EMA. Let's hit Confirm. Okay. It looks like our activity has changed from being always available to a scheduled event starting at 7 p.m. Now that our schedule is set up, all we need to do is wait until it's time to complete the assessment. It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and we've received a notification to complete our mood check-in. Tapping on the notification will take you straight into the assessment. Let's fill it out. All right, let's go back into our study dashboard. And look, our first submission came in 8 minutes ago. The responses we logged on our phone are now visible in the Summary and Responses tab. And of course, you can also download the data for analysis. The data export includes the participants' response data, the schedule data, and any changes that were made, and an optional user journey file, which records timestamps of each button press and input event to millisecond-level precision. Thanks for watching, and we hope you'll create some curious EMA studies of your own.